Here we are, gentlemen. Do we have a delay? That's a everyone. Technology.
Yeah.
You got me? Conrad, can you hear me?
We're live.
This is all delayed. Well, that's fine. We're gonna just do it anyways. And if it doesn't work, then guess what, J-Mac, you're taking over. Welcome everybody to Talk the Line. So, Colin, 3-1 in your Blazing Five, my friend. You still have Buffalo at San Francisco left in contention, and J-Mac, 3-1 on your pick six, and you still got Buffalo, San Fran, and Washington and Pittsburgh, which kicks off here very shortly. How do you guys feel about the week you had? Do you want to talk about your Chargers bet, Jason, now or later?
No. I thought we'd just skip over that, Carissa. Just move right on past me trying to outthink the room. Colin tried to educate me last week. And I still backed Anthony Lynn, who, last check, is still employed somehow by the Chargers. Maybe that'll change. I don't know, but I'm done with the Chargers this season.
Listen, there's three rules in life. Take Andy Reid off a bye. Take Belichick against young quarterbacks, and the first cocktail's always the best. Three rules.
I say that the glass of wine. Always make sure the first glass of wine is the expensive one. After that, it doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, very
exactly.
Simple rules we abide by here.
Yes.
All right, let's take a look at this Week 14 early lineup here. Of course, we'll get into the games, but what just sort of jumps off the page to you right now, Colin?
Well, there's a bunch of games I like. This is actually one of those weeks where I would bet a lot of games early. I like Indianapolis -2.5 at Las Vegas. I think they'll run on the Raiders. I like Buffalo getting points at home against Pittsburgh. I like Miami getting 7.5 against Kansas City. I like New England getting 6 against the Rams. I like Dallas tomorrow getting 8.5 against Baltimore. I like a lot of dogs. I will say Tampa off a bye against Minnesota looks too obvious. That worries me because Minnesota's struggling with everybody. And Tampa off a bye, but Arians off a bye is not Andy Reid off a bye. So I think you're going to get a Tampa team that is what we know, which is talented but inconsistent, lacks a little bit of an offensive identity. But Colts, Buffalo, Miami, New England, dogs. I like those last three dogs.
Okay, Jace, real quickly,
Carissa,
just give me
you
one
could
that jumps
tell
off the page for you, and then we'll break these down.
Yeah, you could tell someone's on a heater. Colin looks at the board. I like everything. I like every game. Give it to me. I don't feel as comfortable this early. Again, do we know what Lamar Jackson's status is for Baltimore, Dallas? Like, is he off the COVID list? Like, there's just a lot of questions. I'm reserved early in the week. Colin, just firing on all cylinders.
When you're hot in gambling, it's like being single and walking to a Senor Froggies. Everything looks pretty available.
Senor Frogs.
And it's just like, I'm sorry, but it's just the way.
I just like that you made Senior Frogs plural. There's more than one frog. It's froggies for you. I don't know about this delay, but it's driving me nuts. Okay, let's get back to what we're here for, which is how to make some money. Vikings, Bucks. Colin, you just sort of intimated there. You like the Bucks in this one, even though you don't think Bruce Arians is Andy Reid off a bye. The line here is 7 with a total of 52.5. So, Jason, why don't you actually start us off on this one and break this one down a little bit?
Yeah, Minnesota, Carissa, 4-1 against the spread as an underdog this year. They're not good as favorites. We just saw them lay an egg against Jacksonville. We saw them lose outright against Dallas. However, the real struggle here for Minnesota is Dalvin Cook. Can they get him on track against a top 5 run defense in the league in Tampa? And that's going to be a tough call because if Dalvin Cook doesn't have room to operate, now you're leaning on Kirk Cousins. And I don't want to say Kirk Cousins is struggling, but under pressure yesterday, 4 for 11 with an interception. Okay? Guess who is the #1 pressure rate defense in the league? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Could be a long day for Kirk Cousins. I don't trust him, but a touchdown, that's a lot of points. Again, a touchdown in December, teams going to the prevent defense, or you do the Greg Williams no defense that the Jets employed. I guess I would lean slightly toward Minnesota here.
I think I'd lean toward Tampa, not heavily. I tend to think, we saw it with Dallas this year. Dallas had no fire and no identity. They took a bye week. They came out and played Pittsburgh well, Minnesota. You can do a lot with 4 or 5 extra days of practice. We know Brady is an intense practice player. And I think Tampa sees itself as a team that could get to a Super Bowl. So they're not going to, this is not about going golfing for 2 weeks. Like Tampa was all in on this bye. And I think we all know Tampa's good. What we're wondering is, what is their run game? They forget about Ronald Jones for long stretches. So I think Tampa probably had a pretty fruitful bye week. And my guess is they play pretty focused football against the Minnesota team with 7 new defensive starters. It's a defense with a big curve here week to week. I'd take Tampa.
All right, Tom Brady, for whatever it's worth, 14-4 straight up off a bye. He likes those extra days. He didn't go golfing, but he did buy a very expensive boat. I did see that.
I saw that too.
I also used to be an entertainment reporter, so I have a bunch of worthless news for you. Game number 2 we're looking at. We're going Colts Raiders in this one. 2.5 with a point total of 50.5. Colin, who do you like and why?
Well, I mean, Indianapolis, you kind of feel like, the line's right. I would take Indianapolis. I just think Las Vegas, we saw this with the Raiders last year. Very physical team, but they weren't deep enough. And at the end of last year, if you recall, the Raiders were a really bad team. The last month, the Raiders weren't a good team. They're still not there yet. They don't have a ton of depth defensively. And they look like they're wearing down to me again this year because of kind of Gruden's style of offense. I mean, they were outplayed for big stretches yesterday. So I kind of see an Indianapolis team that's further along in their rebuild. I think they should make Jonathan Taylor their lead back. And I think Indiana and Michael Pittman's really emerging as a star receiver. I take the Colts here to win and cover the spread.
Yeah, we were early on Michael Pittman. We've been talking about this. The offense looks dynamic. I will say this, Colin, they had 0 offensive points in the second half against the Texans. They struggled to run the football against the 30th rated run defense. I don't want to get too excited here. I'm looking at the Raiders on the money line, and if I can get a 3, I would love that. Here's the logic. I know they got shredded by the Jets. Someone named Ty Johnson, I don't know who he is. He had over 100 yards rushing for the Jets. I follow the Jets. I've never heard of this guy. And the Raiders' run defense is suspect. But Colin, we saw the kid Costanzo, the left tackle, was out, okay? His backup got injured. He's out. They were down to their 3rd string left tackle. Phillip Rivers could not get on track. The run game struggled. They barely topped 100 yards into the 4th quarter. And I just worry about this left tackle situation with an old quarterback, Cleveland Farrell. The guy, we saw him annihilate Mekhi Becton, the Jets' left tackle. He had 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. And they're going to get Josh Jacobs back. They're going to get the kid Abraham back in the secondary. I'm looking at the Raiders here.
All right, you know what? You convinced me. I'm going to take the Raiders. That was a good argument.
Yeah, I'll take it.
I was going to say, well, yeah, but they were the last 20 seconds without that Henry Ruggs touchdown. They're giving the Jets their first win of the season. So both
that's a good argument. You just flipped me back. That was a good argument, Carissa. I'm going to go back the other side.
Spoken like a true politician.
You're going back the other side? Okay, we'll check back in with you midweek and see where you're at then. Saints-Eagles, game 3, we're looking at -7 with a 45 point total here. Colin, who do you like and why?
It'd be hard not to take New Orleans. I'd stay away from this game. The over-under is 45. Philadelphia does a pretty good job to make games ugly. Yeah, this is, listen, sometimes the best advice is don't bet.
Don't bet, yeah.
I think it's the right number. I keep waiting for New Orleans because I've seen Kansas City and Pittsburgh lay eggs, just have really bad Sundays. And I keep waiting for New Orleans to have an off Sunday. Their defense is playing so well right now. Saints defense, if you recall, in the first month was kind of a mess. They are really lined up right now. They're healthy. I'd stay away. If I had to, I'd bet. I'd take the point. I know I'm over Philadelphia. I just think it's a stay away game.
Yeah, it's funny. On the Sunday show I do with Jeff Schwartz here, Talk the Line, I said the analogy with the Saints was, we're waiting for our kids to eat their vegetables, Colin, every night. Can you eat your carrots? Nah, I don't want them, Dad. Can you eat your spinach, your broccoli? We're waiting for it to happen. Everybody out there is waiting for Taysom Hill and the Saints to fall off. And they don't. Every week they deliver. Number 1 defense in the league, okay? Top 10 in offense. Top 10 in special teams. Nobody else can tout that. And if the Eagles turn to Jalen Hurts, okay, listen, I like Jalen Hurts' upside. Going against the Saints, the number 1 defense in the league, for a rookie quarterback, that is dangerous. I think Peterson's in a can't-win spot because it looked like the team was energized when they pulled Wentz. Hurts had the touchdown pass. They started to rally. If you go back to Wentz, do you lose the locker room if it's not lost already? I just think this is a Saints blowout. We've seen this before. I bet on the Eagles. It was last year or 2 years ago, going to New Orleans. New Orleans beat them like 45-17. I'm telling you, Sean Payton needs some respect, Carissa. We need to say better things about this guy. He is a great coach. Take the Saints.
Who's saying bad things about Sean Payton?
Okay, fine,
Jim
not
Schwartz?
bad things. But nobody's giving the guy credit. It's like Andy Reid is awesome and Sean McVay. And we forget, it's like with LeBron and the MVP. Colin, you say this all the time. We forget about LeBron's greatness. Are we forgetting that Sean Payton has the most wins in the last 3 years of any coach in the NFL? He's awesome. Stop betting against him, people. Okay, I've said enough.
Well, to your point and to Colin's point earlier, he is 8-0 with backups. Drew Brees' status is still questionable. He said Sunday night that he'll take it day by day, but Taysom Hill, a formidable backup for them coming in last night and getting his first 2 career passing touchdowns. All right, number 4, we're looking at the Steelers and Bills. I know that this is a little difficult to jump into, we're going to see both of these teams later on today, but this is a game, so we at least need to touch on it. We're looking at 3 here right now with a point total of 50. Colin, what do you make of this?
Well, I have Buffalo losing tonight, creating urgency for this game. It's one of my favorite picks of the week, Buffalo. I think with Bud Dupree out and Devin Bush earlier, I don't think Pittsburgh's run defense is quite as formidable. I am betting this today based on I think Buffalo loses tonight and creates real urgency for this game. I like the Bills.
Okay.
That's it.
I'm almost like ahead of the market.
Wow. You want to beat the market. Get the best number. Well, Colin, we know the public drives a lot of the Sunday decisions. On Sunday, who's the public going to come in on? Josh Allen or the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are probably going to be undefeated? I think it's the Steelers, and I think you're probably right. Buffalo's aside. I know Mike Tomlin against bad teams is prone to letdowns. Buffalo is a good team. I can see Tomlin getting his guys up for this. Big Ben coming through. I early lean to Pittsburgh, but it's early in the week. We're on opposite sides here, I think.
I like everything that's happening. I like the new graphic layout. I mean, other than the delay that's happening because my Wi-Fi is terrible in my house, I like the way that Colin's sitting. It almost looks like he had a cocktail in that glass that he was just around with some ice. Everything's working here on Monday. I think we've got a great attitude because we have a lot of football to play all week long. Hey, guess who's going to have a rematch? Their first time they've met in almost Patriots and the Rams. Patriots, of course, coming off that beating of the Chargers. With this line, we got 6 and 44.5. Colin, what do you make of this one?
I like the under, and I like New England. These are really good defenses. You know, it's funny, because of McVay, we just instinctively think the Rams are an offensive football team. They have the best secondary in the league.
Yeah.
Aaron Donald's the best defensive lineman. Jalen Ramsey this week won't really have an assignment, so he can do other things. I think it's a very low-scoring game, and in low-scoring games, 6 is way too big of a number. So it's one of my favorite bets of the week. I'll take New England. They stayed out here in Los Angeles. I'm sure they found a local Sheraton to stay at. Oh, it was a frugal franchise. I like New England with a chance to win.
Ouch.
What?
A frugal franchise? What do you got against Sheraton's, Colin? Mr. 5-star.
They're very cost efficient. Let me have a sip of my Makers.
Carissa, I know you were watching Chargers-Patriots laughing at my bet. Cam Newton had 69 passing yards. That's it. And as Colin said, this Rams secondary is amazing. They've allowed the fewest air yard passes over 10 yards in the league. So if you can't beat them over the top, and they're a stout run defense, number 1 in the league with Aaron Donald, what on earth are the Patriots going to do for points? I don't know how they move the football. I love your underplay. That might be the under of the season. This feels like, to me, like a 20-6 Rams statement game. And I did look at the Super Bowl rosters just because I'm a nerd, and there is almost nothing that the Patriots have back defensively from that Super Bowl, including the coaching staff. Flores, all of his assistants are gone, except for Belichick's kid, who's now, I guess, the defensive coordinator. But it's nothing compared to that Super Bowl roster for anybody who's going to play that card. Oh, they can shut down Goff. I don't know. I like the under, and I would lean to McVay and Goff here.
My favorite is that you just said Belichick's kid's like something like the defensive coordinator, like one of those position. Casual. Okay, Chiefs. The Chiefs owed me last night. I'm done betting on the Chiefs. I'll tell you why. Because they're 0-4 in their last 4 games against the spread. Every time I lose money on the Chiefs. So they take on the Dolphins. The set line here is 7.5 with a point total of 49. Colin, who do you like?
Miami, well coached. They create defensive and special team scoring opportunities. Kansas City is in a situation where they're going to win the division going away. They're probably trying to stay healthy. It's hard to create urgency when you really score so easily. As far as Tua, it's Tua be determined.
Oh.
He hasn't thrown an interception, so he is Drew Brees. Not a huge arm, accurate, smart, doesn't make mistakes. And with Flores' defense, I think that's a way to win. That's a really good recipe. So I take Miami. I like a lot of underdogs this week. Outside of, since you talked me into that Raiders game, Tampa's the only favorite I like. Kind of. Wow.
Let me ask, what's going on with the Chiefs in the red zone? Has anybody noticed 0 for 3 in the red zone against Tampa, 0 for 4 against Denver?
Well,
and I know Carissa's getting ticked off because he's leveraging money.
Because the rookie running back from LSU, he's not the power runner.
No.
They don't have. That's why they thought Le'Veon Bell would be good. They lack a power component 4 yards in, and that's where you score a lot of your points. Is before head down. That's why the Raiders probably have a good red zone offense because they have a power run game.
And when you're looking to cover big spreads like a touchdown, you need to deliver touchdowns in the red zone. I think that's a minor issue. Again, we're talking about the best team in football. But some notes on Miami, okay? First of all, best against the spread record in the league, 9-3. They have the only team in the NFL to force a turnover in every single game. Brian Flores, he's got to be the coach of the year at this point. I do have some concern, Colin. You said Tua be determined. He's going up against Steve Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator of the Chiefs. He's the guy who shut down Brady and the Randy Moss offense in the Super Bowl back in the day with the Giants. He's a smart guy. This is a good defensive coordinator. I know it didn't really show against Denver. I would be careful backing Tua. This feels like a good game. Temperatures, thanks to Conrad putting it in there, in the 80s for this one. So it's going to be hot. If Miami can keep Kansas City on the field, maybe wear them down, I can't wait for this game. Fired up about it.
Well, I can't wait for Clyde Edwards-Helaire to play because he dressed but ended up not playing. They were very deficient in the red zone. But hey, I got an idea. Have you ever heard of Travis Kelce? Just throw the ball up. You're first and goal, and you guys can't convert over and over again. And then all of a sudden, you open up the second half. You drive all the way down the length of the field. It's 7 plays, 80 yards, and you can't convert. I'm very upset. That's why I have to have 7 jobs because I'm just losing so much money on the Chiefs. All right, moving on here. Who do we got? We're looking at Washington and Pittsburgh. This game is on in about 4 seconds. So we're looking at 6.5 here with a point total of 44. Colin, quickly for some last minute wagers. What do you got here?
I made one of my biggest bets of the year on Washington about 4 days ago, and it was a way better number than 6.5.
You said it was 8.5, right? That's what I got.
Boom. 8.5 is what I got on Washington, and I've already spent the money on a speedboat.
You and Tom Brady with the speedboats. I got to ask, though, how did this get through 7 and why? It takes a lot of money to go through a key number of 7. We know in the NFL, 3 and 7 are the most common endings in the NFL, so why would it go through to 6.5?
Because a lot of the wise guys, a lot of the sharps like Washington. So I think it's one of the bets of the year. At 8.5, I thought I was stealing money.
Okay, so Alex Smith has started 3 games since Kyle Allen went down. He's faced Detroit, Cincinnati, and Dallas. They're, bottom 10 defenses. Now he has to face a top 5 defense in Pittsburgh. Well, Alex Smith, good luck. He had to face the Rams in a backup role, and the Rams killed him 6 sacks. Could get ugly for Alex Smith. I don't know. I mean, I have 8.5, and I'm not as excited about buying a speedboat as Colin Cowherd.
You and I are in a rowboat between my Kansas City team and your Chargers bet. We're lucky if we even get out in the water. Okay, I'm going to take, for those of you guys that don't know, I also include a prop bet here or there if you're new to wagering and you just want to, kind of dip your toe in the proverbial water I just alluded to. I'm going to take 10 in this one under 18.5 points for the purposes of that we just spoke about. That Steelers defense is very good even without Bud Dupree. We spoke about pregame show yesterday, Colin, they're sort of by committee. So even in the absence of some good linebackers and defensive players, they still get it done. All right, moving right along here. We got San Francisco, a point, and with a total point of 47.5. Next one. So who do you like here? I know who you like, Colin. You like San Francisco, right?
Yeah, I took this game, but I got a better number than this. So I got San Francisco. I got 1.5.
Okay, yeah, +1.5.
+1.5. And so I got a better number than this. And I also like the over. I think these two teams can move the football. I think you can run on Buffalo. San Francisco will. And I think Buffalo can beat San Francisco over the top. Niners secondary can be dubious at times. So I like a kind of a wild, I like a fairly high scoring game, kind of a 27, 24, 27, but I like San Francisco tonight if you can get a good number.
Yeah, I'm with you on Buffalo. I'm sorry, on San Francisco. San Francisco's the side here. I like how they're getting healthy. And when you see a guy like George Kittle come out and say, hey, guys, hold down the fort. I'm coming back. We're going to make a run to the playoffs. Like, that's the kind of thing that, I mean, I don't know if it's cheesy player speak, but it's got to galvanize a locker room. I mean, Richard Sherman comes back, first game, interception. Deebo Samuel comes back, first game, 130 yards receiving. They got some weapons on this team when people are healthy. I like San Fran here, and keep an eye on this team going forward, Colin. This is a team I'm looking to bet on here at the end of the season. Nick Mullins, just don't screw it up. Just don't turn the ball over.
Nick Mullins throws for more. Kyle Shanahan trusts Nick Mullins more than Garoppolo. He throws for about 50 yards more a game than Garoppolo did this year. So that tells you that Kyle lets him let it loose. Pretty interesting.
Trust, yeah, that's good.
It's because they're staying at a Sheridan down in Arizona. Now they're just taking liberties. Just go ahead and chuck the ball around because you got a good night's stay at the Sheridan. I'm going to take Deebo Samuel for my prop bet. In this one, we're going over 50.5 receiving yards. Jason just said able to move the ball there. He's had over 60 yards receiving in his last 3 games. If you want to get in on some prop bet action, there's plenty of prop bets over on Fox Bet, the app. Is free to play. All right, I believe we have to wrap this up, but we have a question, a fan question, Colin, as we do every week. So the question here is from Jerry, and he says, Colin, when a line moves a lot throughout the week, like fluctuates more than 1 or 2 points, does that make you more nervous to bet that game, or does that final number somehow mean it's ending up at the proper place?
Well, I'm never nervous before a game, often lubricated, but never nervous. I would say it depends on how it moves. I will say this, when you see, they call it chasing the smoke or chasing the steam, when a line moves big and you join in and you chase it, I try not to. I like to bet most of my bets. You know, I do the Blazing 5 on Friday, but I have most of my bets in by Monday or Tuesday. So I don't like to chase numbers. Like, I know what I like and I stick with it. I don't get, lines move all the time. And I think if you went in the history of it, the lines that move dramatically before games, it's probably a 50-50 proposition. I try to stay away from chasing everybody else's action. I kind of know what I like. I bet it early in the week. And, like tonight, I have Washington, which I bet 4 days ago, and I have San Francisco, which I bet 5 days ago, 4 days ago. So I don't care where the line moves at this point.
Well, it's interesting because in this show, more than any other that we've had so far this season, it seems like you got in early on a bunch of these. And when we first started the show, when we put up the early week 14 lines, you like a lot of underdogs this time. Yeah, Colin?
I do like underdogs. You know what? Because I think I'm an underdog in life. I'm a scrapper. I'm a 12 seed. I've had to overcome. Carissa's a 1 seed.
Obviously.
You and I, though, we're a couple of.
I'm a 16 seed, buddy.
I'm like VCU. I'm George Mason, missing 2 starters. I mean, it's just every day is a fight.
Well, look, I'll put my money on you guys any day, no matter what position you come in. We appreciate the time as always. This is Talk the Line. Enjoy a full week of football. We will do this again, same time, same place on Monday.
See ya.